Good day to everybody. Welcome back to the Formula Sports channel. Thanks for being here. In this particular video, we're talking about the impasse. We're touching a little bit on the impasse between the Reggae Girlz and the Jamaica Football Federation. I might do another video on this because there's another issue that I want to address as it relates to this topic, but I'm not going to do it in this video. You know, I don't think a month passes and there is not a scandal involving the Jamaica Football Federation, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think a fortnight passed. I don't think 2 weeks passed and there's not a scandal involving this Jamaica Football Federation. Sometimes the scandals are local, and then there are other times when the scandals make international news. See, Jamaican football fans seemingly cannot catch a break. We can't catch a break. We're exhausted. Honestly, people, we were celebrating the Reggae Boys qualifying for the Copa America, and I kid you not, less than 24 hours later, Jamaican footballing fans were brought back down to earth when the Reggae Girl squad was dropped. And players that we expected to see on it was not on it. We think the situation sorted out. We thought that the second window, the likes of Bonnie and Becky would be back. Crazy, man, crazy. You know, the Reggae Girlz did an interview. Well, two of them, Becky and Bonnie, the two young ladies on your screen, the goalkeeper and the big goalkeeper and the big striker, two big baller. They did an interview on Sportsmax, right, addressing a lot of the nonsense that has been taking place, right? And they have basically been saying that, you know, their money is still owed. Now, representatives from the JFF basically says, yo, the whole thing clear up from a financial standpoint. And the girls are saying something completely different. So either somebody is lying or there is just a terrible misunderstanding. One side, one party has said something, the other side, the other party saying something completely different. It's either somebody is lying or there's just a terrible misunderstanding. You know, I am thinking to myself, and many fans are thinking to themselves as well, why would representatives from the JFF, like a Dennis Strong, you know, basically come forward and say what they said about monies owed being cleared up? Why would they do something like that at the risk of being exposed as liars? Really and truly, the only sensible conclusion I can arrive at, that there has been rumors that in the contracts of the national representatives, there are clauses. I don't know if this is true. This is a rumor that we have all heard it, that there are clauses in the contract that prevent the players from bringing their issues to the public. Or I shouldn't put it like that. Prevents them from speaking about the JFF in a negative light in public. That's the only sensible conclusion that can be arrived at. Apart from that, we can't think of another, you know, possible reason as to why they would come publicly and say something that the girls are saying is flat out false. Apart from that reason that I give, I can't rationalize it any other way. Any other way you try and make sense of it, it don't make sense. That's the only logical conclusion that I can arrive at. They thought that they were protected via the contract, that them could have said anything and the girls would not come forward publicly and dispute this. You know, a lot of people seem to be upset that the girls are not playing, right? And that they should be playing. Everybody's upset that the girls ain't playing, but some people have said the girls should be playing, right? You know, questioning their patriotism because the girls, you know, have not come forward to represent the country in two very important windows now. Gold Cup qualification, the inaugural CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup. I understand the anger. And when you have a feeling of anger, you want to just direct it at someone, direct it at somebody. Obviously, the feeling of anger will be evoked from this particular scenario. Here's my thing though. I am not going to blame the Reggae Girlz for not representing the country based on the fact that monies are still owed to them. Here's why. I will give the girls a pass where that is concerned. I have less time for that argument from the Reggae boys though. I'm gonna be real and I'm gonna be truthful with you guys. The reason why I have less time for that argument from the Reggae boys and more time for that argument in terms of it being a legitimate excuse not to turn up and represent the country from a Reggae Girl standpoint is because men's and women's football are two different things. The landscape of both men's and women's football is completely different, especially from a financial standpoint. Most of the Reggae boys can afford not to turn up. I mean, most of the Reggae boys, pardon me, can afford to turn up without being compensated. Most of the girls cannot afford to not be paid for their services. Right, with the exception of probably the JPL players that represent the national team. And really and truly, for the most part, those are few and far between. But the rest of the Reggae boys, for the most part, I'm not saying it's right not to pay them, you know. The JFF must pay them, should pay them. But I still think from a patriotic standpoint, patriotism is enough to override non-payment of monies to the Reggae boys. Simply because most of the Reggae boys can afford to represent the national team without compensation. They look $1-2 grand US from the JFF to most of them is nothing. The girls is a totally different thing. A lot of these girls that represent the national team on a frequent basis are not even professionals, they're collegiate players. And then even the ones that are professionals are not very well paid. So the girls need the money in a lot of the cases. Yes, you have the exceptions like a Bonnie and Becky who don't need it, true. But in my humble opinion, from where I stand and the bit that I know about women's football, most of them are going to need it. See, here's my thing though. The aspect of unprofessional behavior from the Jamaica Football Federation, I don't think that that is a legitimate excuse to turn down a call-up. So I'm not going to beat them for not turning up, the girls not turning up from a financial standpoint. But not turning up because of the excuse of unprofessional conduct from the JFF people, I think that is an excuse that I personally not going to stand for. So when the girls are paid all that they are owed, I believe that they must, I shouldn't say must, but I would like to see the girls back. Here's the thing, I now say the girls for settle for less than ideal circumstances, and I understand that it must be, and I don't even understand this enough to the level that they would, but I get it to a certain extent. It must be very difficult to play in an unprofessional environment with the Jamaica Football Federation, you know, executing the program from a very unprofessional standpoint administratively, right? I understand that it must be tough, but here's the thing. In my humble opinion, people, the JFF cannot function given the respective variables at play right now in the Jamaica Football Federation, the debt that is owed, right? The politics that is involved, the just all the respective variables at play, ladies and gentlemen, the personalities involved, right? I don't think it is possible for the Jamaica Football Federation to perform anywhere near its potential anytime soon. I don't think it is practical to expect or to require the Jamaica Football Federation to perform anywhere near its best or to perform anywhere near the level of a professional body at a certain level anytime soon, if you understand the point that I'm trying to make. I don't think that's a realistic expectation of this Jamaica Football Federation, given the realistic, given the respective variables at play. I'm not making excuses for incompetence from the JFF. I'm just a realist, people. So the financial excuse, me not the girls for that. But not representing the country because of JFF incompetence, people, what is going to take place? Every time the Jamaica Football Federation has a foul up, the Reggae Girlz are going to withdraw their services, because if that be the case, the girls going forward in the future are really going to represent Jamaica. Who listening this video thinks that the Jamaica Football Federation is going to turn around tomorrow and be a very well-run organization? The populace, the general populace, has been screaming for the Jamaica Football Federation to be a competent organization. I don't think, for years, decades, I don't think it is practical to expect the Jamaica Football Federation to become anywhere near a competent, properly run professional organization anytime soon, given the respective variables at play. See? So that is my thing. Any little foul up, foul ups are gonna, people, the JFF are gonna foul up. The JFF is going to foul up. Every time the JFF foul up and foul up big time, the girls now gonna come play for it. For the country, and the JFF them are play for the people of the country them are represent, and the JFF them are represent. Seeing people, when you listen to the interview and you hear all the details of the allegations, people, from the Reggae Girlz in the interview, you know the program is all over the place, but my God, you just cannot, it's like you can't fathom just how unprofessional the program is, though. Like, things are bad, but every time you hear like people come forward and really talk on it, you think you can't be surprised anymore. But there's still things that are said that is just very surprising. And when you hear the details of the allegations, you get an even further understanding of just how all over the place the program is, how dysfunctional the Jamaica Football Federation is. The program is a mess. It is a mess. Now, me personally, I don't want to jump to conclusions, ladies and gentlemen, because to be honest with you, I haven't heard a response from the Jamaica Football Federation or a representative from the federation. So I want to be fair. I don't want to jump to any conclusions. But every time somebody decides to do a tell-all interview on the JFF, the allegations are just stinging, man. And it's hard not to believe, because we just know as fans say, the program really and truly is just all over the place. So I've seen enough to know this to be the case. It is depressing as a Jamaican football fan when you see the state of the program, man. Very depressing. There's one positive that I will say that has emanated from this impasse between the World Cup Reggae Girlz squad and the Jamaica Football Federation. One positive that me personally, I can say that has emanated from all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been finding out, that the Reggae Girlz pool is very deep, people. And we have been finding 1 and 2 players that can really be of help to the A team. So even though, it's negativity for the most part, you can always find a positive aspect somewhere in the mix. And I wanted to highlight that because, yes, it's not all doom and gloom. There is a positive that has come out of this, ladies and gentlemen, right? We as Jamaican footballing fans and as Reggae Girlz fans have found out that the national senior team's women's pool is exceptionally deep. Very, 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 very deep. See, the last point I want to make on this as well is that I have a criticism of especially Khadija Bunny Shaw, who is basically the face of the Jamaica Reggae Girlz program at this particular point in time, and the spokesperson You know, I think that's reasonable to put that on her. I think when Bonisha is speaking, she needs to be more cogent, right? I think Bonisha needs to be more cogent. I think that sometimes the messaging is a bit scattered. It's not precise enough and it's not to the point. I was a little bit frustrated at times in the interview, right? I think that is something that she needs to work on. The interviewer sometimes had to be piecing Bonisha's responses together for clarity. And I think that's something that Bonisha needs to work on going forward. You see, when you're speaking on matters of such a sensitive nature, you have to be as clear and as precise as possible. So there is very little room for confusion. It's the same thing with our statements at the World Cup. And that is something that I regret not speaking on in the video that I did at the time about it. That, to be fair, even though I disagreed with people as to what Bunny actually meant, I could understand where they were coming. I could understand why World Trace took the position that he did. I thought he was mischaracterizing the comments and taking them out of context. But I could, in all fairness, you can understand where he was coming from, because, to be fair, Bonisha should have articulated herself better. So Bonisha has to improve on that going forward, in the best interest of lessening confusion as it comes to comments, as it relates to comments that she makes. See, knock up the likes button, subscribe and share. Knock up the likes button, subscribe and share. Free and easy ways to support the Formula Sports channel. Take care, guys. Stay safe. And until next time.